not prepared!
Welcome to another Top 5 with Kris 05, guys. Today we're gonna check out what are the best performing decks in the current meta. We're definitely expecting some nerfs to happen, sooner rather than later again, but until then, these 5 decks would be a great option for you to climb some easy ranks. We will go into detail about the 5 decks, checking out their win rates, mulligans, and also some general tips with them. But we will also go over all of the other working archetypes right now in Standard, so you have a better idea of what deck you might want to be piloting. If you're serious about Hearthstone, you might as well drop a like and subscribe to the channel, because I will keep on giving you weekly meta reports like this, so you know what you want to be playing, and also to know what you should be expecting against you too. I will also be doing a coaching session giveaway today, courtesy of one of my loyal viewers, Kim T. So if you want a chance to win a free hour coaching session with me live on stream tonight, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop a comment that contains the words coaching giveaway in them. I would prefer if the people entering the coaching giveaway haven't had a coaching session with me before. So yeah, only enter the giveaway if you haven't had a coaching session with me beforehand. If you don't manage to win the giveaway, don't forget you can also hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Prices charged for lower than 20 bucks per hour if you hire me for a free hour coaching session. But now, let's check out the decks. To no one's surprise, on the number 1 spot, still we have Naga Demon Hunter. Naga Demon Hunter is an absolute beast of a deck, and it has so much damage, so much refill, and a ton of burst out of nowhere as well. I've already made a detailed guide about this deck, and I've included it in my last 2 top 5s, so I really shouldn't be taking too much time on this one. This is currently one of the best lists out there, and there are other similar decks out there as well. The flex picks here would be Boneglaive as well as Ruster Viper, so if you feel like you want to be adding something else, those 2 would be the cards you need to check for changes. As you can see, we have similar decks that run an extra Boneglaive instead of a Viper, some decks opt for Winged of Hate instead of Viper, we have some Silence, but I don't think that's as important anymore. People were also testing with Sigils, also with Corvus, or even with Archdruid Naralax, which I've seen quite a few times recently. So yeah, you have a few flex picks if you want to feel creative with this deck. Matchup wise, still Warrior would be your worst matchup, and Control Paladin might be a little bit tricky too, but as you can see, right now it's pretty green. If you want to check out the detailed mulligan guide and tips for the deck, just check out my last guide for the deck. Other than that, for Demon Hunter, basically we have all kinds of iterations of Naga Demon Hunter at the top, and by a big margin. We have to scroll very far down to reach something different than Naga Demon Hunter, which would be Fel Demon Hunter, which is opting for some Jace action instead of Drekthar. So yeah, for Demon Hunter that's basically it, either Naga Demon Hunter or the Fel Demon Hunter with Jace. Moving down to the second best deck, which still is Control Warrior, because it's so damn good against Naga Demon Hunters. Control Warrior is an absolute monster of a deck against aggro decks right now, because it has so much armor gain and removal tools, and it actually has some pretty solid win conditions as well. And it feels a lot more like a mid-range deck nowadays. You can discount a ton with your From the Depths, and after that you can switch over to a Sir Finley and draw all of those heavily discounted cards. You can gain a ton of extra armor through your school teachers, especially if you combo it off with Bran. This version is also pretty brilliant because it's actually utilizing Gorlock Ravager, which is drawing both your Mutinous, your Finley, or your both Amalgams. So you're always gonna have some pretty good draw out of this single Murloc. You're still running Nelly, which almost always is gonna give you Mistress Might. Rakara is pretty damn good, Kazakh-san is still pretty easy for you to activate, and it's even easier for you to activate it nowadays, because you are running a good amount of dragons, including Onyxian Drakes and Raid Boss Onyxia, and yeah, the rest is basically a lot of card draw, a lot of removal, and a lot of armor. Matchup wise, it's pretty polarizing, but the reason why this deck is so good is right here, and this win rate should be a lot higher if you know what you're doing with this deck. Quest Hunters should actually be a counter to you, but I guess a lot of the Quest Hunters don't realize they need to be playing for Beastalk or Tavish in this matchup. Druids are gonna be wrecking you still, Mages are gonna be good for you, Paladins would be 50-50, depending on the matchup though, cause Mech Paladin apparently totally wrecks you. Burn Shaman is gonna be pretty easy, Pirate Rogue's 50, and again with the Warriors, looks pretty fair to me. Mulligan wise, since you are a control deck, you will definitely need to think about the matchup you're playing against and what you will be expecting from them. But I guess From the Depths is always gonna be a good keep, no matter if you're first or second. Frozen Buckler and Shield Shatter would be excellent removal tools for you in the early game. Rancor might make a a lot of sense. Outrider's Axe also is gonna be a pretty good keep for you. Sir Finley probably not that bad a keep, especially if you top deck into a From the Depths later on. And yeah, the rest is basically you gotta decide what you will be needing in the particular matchup. Going second, I guess you can even keep something like Rakara, but basically you have the same mindset here. The deck is pretty expensive, so be careful crafting it, because people are speculating something might get nerfed here. Even if nothing gets nerfed for Control Warrior, if they really do nerf Naga Demon Hunter soon, that is gonna be your best matchup, dropping lower in popularity, so that's also gonna passively hit you pretty hard. So yeah, be careful dumping all of that dust into so many legendaries if you're not prepared to maybe switch out the deck later on. Other than that, for Warrior, also Charge Warrior is doing pretty fine, but that definitely seems to be the weaker archetype right now, because we have to scroll down to page number 2 to start seeing that archetype, which is still sitting at a nifty 55% win rate. Quest Warrior is still usable, even though it's not the powerhouse it used to be, you're still gonna definitely be climbing with this deck. And you will actually be countering Control Warrior with it, because after you play the Juggernaut, it's just so damn good. On the number 3 spot, we have Quest Hunter again. Like I said, Quest Hunter will be pretty good against Control Warriors right now, because you basically have an almost infinite amount of damage if you wait for your Beaststalker Tavish and abuse the 0 mana hero power for it. This version is pretty close to the deck I showcased a few days ago, so if you want to check out a detailed guide about this deck, plus some gameplay as well, definitely make sure to click this card. In this version we actually are running one marked shot, so you can discover an extra spell out of it, and also progress your quest easier, and we also have room for one Rainbow Glow Scale. We're still running Rajan here, and also a couple of Vipers and Treasure Guards, which are excellent pools from your Drektar. You have one Candle Shot in here, so you can have better targets for your Dragonbane shot most of the time, and we also have one Explosive Trap, with which you need to be careful, because if you just tempo it out, your opponent can actually manipulate which step of the quest you will be on. For the matchups, this is what it looks like. Anacondra and Ram Druid are not gonna be great for you, but everything else is pretty green. And like I said, you will be wrecking Control Warriors if you play the matchup correctly. You should be pretty good against Naga Demon Hunters as well, but it would be a skill matchup there, so be careful. Mulligan wise, Drektar is gonna be a great keep for you going first and second for that matter, and if you're against a control-y matchup, keeping Beaststalker Tavish would also be pretty amazing. Dragonbane shot makes a lot of sense most of the time, Barb Nets as well. And again, if you are against a control matchup, you might want to be keeping stuff like tracking, so you can actually find your Beaststalker Tavish faster. On the coin, this is what it looks like again. But yeah, make sure to check out the detailed guide so you have a better idea of what you need to be doing in which particular matchup. All in all, this deck is not too expensive because Drektar was free, so you only need to be crafting 3 legendaries in here, and I would argue that Raj is actually not that important. I have seen lists without Beaststalker Tavish as well, and those tend to be simpler, but you're probably gonna have better results with Beaststalker Tavish included, especially if you're good with the deck. For other Hunter decks, like I said, there are versions without Tavish, and there are quite a few card changes from list to list. We are having Face Hunter as well, but it's a lot lower in win rate. There's also a Beast Hunter, which is barely 50%, so basically if you want to be playing Hunter and winning, you're probably better off sticking with Quest. On the number 4 spot, we have Mech Paladin, which is a pretty good deck for you to be climbing from Diamond 5 to Legend. The deck is pretty powerful and it has a lot of tempo in it. And you can really swarm the board with a ton of mechs pretty early, and they can get pretty buffed too. You are running an Alliance Bannerman, which is buffing your entire hand, and that would be an amazing play for you, especially after you play Radar Detector. You have a couple of Righteous Protectors in here, so you can have a better shot at surviving in the early game, a couple of Prismatic Jewels because almost all of your cards have Divine Shields on them, and you're obviously running the new Colossal, and also Carol, which is pretty awesome still. Matchup wise, there's not that much stats out there, but Naga Demon Hunter should be a pretty bad matchup for you. Control Warrior seems to be a good matchup, so you got that going for you, and Quest Hunter is gonna be 50-50. Mulligan wise, this is what it looks like when going first. The weapon and radar detector would be pretty good for you, as well as Seafloor Savior so you can dredge something good. And when on the coin, again, Prismatic Jewel pretty good, radar detector as well, but also Samuro becomes a lot more keepable. This deck is also not that expensive, especially if you had Samuro for free, so you only have 3 other legendaries to be crafting. I'm not sure if anything is getting nerfed in here as well, so you're probably on the safe side here. For other Paladin decks, we also have Hand Buff Paladin doing pretty good. Holy Paladin is also a pretty good control archetype for it right now. There's even a Highlander Holy Paladin out there too, and people are trying to make Dragon Paladin decent as well, but so far the win rate is not that great. And on the last spot, we have Small Spell Mage, which is a pretty competitive deck, even in Top Legend, but it can definitely take you from Diamond 5 to Legend as well. This is not an easy deck to pilot, that's for sure, and you are having two win conditions here, either through a big hero power or through a lot of tempo with your Spitelash Siren. You're definitely gonna have to think hard with this one, because it's not too simple cycling with the Siren, and you will have to keep on juggling between spells and Nagas to pull pretty big boards pretty early. Like I said, you also have the ping package with your Wildfires, Reckless Apprentice, and also Magister Dawngrasp and Mordresh at the top. Because in some matchups, just building a wide board is not gonna cut it, and you will need to ping down your opponent. And with Magister Dawngrasp, that basically gives you infinite scaling. Matchup-wise, Quest Hunter and Naga Demon Hunter are gonna be pretty bad for you, but you're gonna be good against Control Warrior and Mech Paladin, so you got that going for you. Mulligan-wise, this is what it looks like when going first, and your Spitelash Siren is gonna be pretty MVP for you to keep, but also Wildfire is gonna be pretty good. Flurry could help you, especially so you can have a better time cycling with the Spitelash. Spellcoiler is pretty nice as well, and First Flame and Vicious Slither Spear are gonna be pretty decent too. On the coin, you can even keep something like Commander Sivara, and she will probably remember the coin for you. Gift of Ashara also becomes a lot more keepable here, and Arcane Intellect as well. This is another not so expensive deck, so if you want to be playing Mage, this is probably the way to go right now. For other good Mage decks, we also have Mech Mage still doing pretty fine, but you're not gonna see it in the competitive scene. But it's still a pretty good way for you to be climbing from Diamond 5 to Legend. Amulet Mage is also still somewhat doable, but the rest is just plummeting down in the win rate. So yeah, those three archetypes would be your best bet. That's it for the top 5 decks. Now let's check out the classes we still haven't mentioned. Starting off with Druid, which is still doing pretty fine, with Ramp Druid being the best performing one. We also have Anaconda Druid doing pretty good, but the skill cap here is a lot higher, hence the win rate is not as great, because people are probably butchering it. There's also an Aggro Druid list out there, but it's not doing that amazing so far. Here's a couple of Beast Druid lists, which are also pretty low on the win rate. Quest Druid is barely above 50%, and there's also Sea Giant lists out there too, but they're not doing as amazing as they're supposed to. With Priest, the win rate is just pitiful so far. The best performing list right now would be some kind of a Miracle Silence Priest, which looks pretty weird, but we also have Shellfish Priest doing okay, and Boar Priest is still pretty good, but you have to be really good with it to pull it off. With Rogue, we have Pirate Rogue at the top, and that's basically the only list above 50%, so I guess you need to be staying away from Rogue for now. With Shaman, Burn Shaman is still decently good, but again, it's quite the complicated deck, so be careful with that one. And with Warlock, we are seeing a new Fatigue Warlock out there, which utilizes the Agonies, and it did seem to be pretty decent at Top Legend, but as you can see, the win rate is not amazing so far. Mind Warlock is also out there still, but everything is below 50%, so yeah, stay away from Warlock, I guess. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing in the current meta. Don't forget you can also hire me for some Hearthstone coaching, and also enter the giveaway for the coaching today as well. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video, or stream.